Welcome back, everyone. This is the Thanks for Rolling podcast, and today Jeff and I took the show on the road, and we are here at Gracie Litchfield Hills with Travis Layton, owner of the Academy, and the two-time ADCC champ, JT Torres. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
So, Travis, thank you for welcoming us in.
So excited to have you guys here. Seriously, so glad we could do the podcast. So glad you're doing the seminar. I've been telling everyone, first choice before we opened. You know what I mean? Wanted JT the whole time. So super excited.
Appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to hop on with us for a little while
before
we get to the action, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of one of our things with this podcast. It's like, you know, we get cool people coming through our academy and we go to seminars and other stuff. So it's like, let's just sit down with everyone we can in the jiu-jitsu community and just get some conversations on record and learn a little bit about everyone.
100%. I think that's such a good way for, you know, people who don't have the access, like direct access, like to us right now, who are not in the tri-state area or things like that, to get to know us a little bit better. So I think it's a great way to do that.
Yeah.
Pumped to be part of it today.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
I think what else is cool about this podcast is like the whole local jiu-jitsu community to kind of can tune in and see what's going on. You guys talk about the events. It feels like we're all talking to our buddies, you know, getting to chime in on the latest action, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we normally focus on, you know, all the local stuff. We interview people that come through our academy and, you know, we're always promoting our events and seminars and competitions. But last episode was with Fion, and today we got JT, and now it's like, where are we going from here?
Yeah, exactly. I joked with Pat earlier in the week. I said, I guess we just shut down after this.
Right.
We got the two people we want now. We're just going to roll on to the next thing.
Fion's awesome, man. She's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Great personality, really down to earth, real funny and bubbly, but my accent's definitely not as cool as hers.
Well, that is true. We'll give you that one. But yeah, she was great. It was awesome to get to
awesome seminar.
We had seen her. Both you guys obviously at ADCC this past year, we had a I guess it was like a wrap up podcast for the year, right? And we were like, all right, so what do we want to? Who are we going to watch? You know, this upcoming year. And so to get to hang out with you guys is pretty cool. So,
yeah, I mean, listen, I appreciate you guys having me, and you know, I'm glad you guys were there at ADCC. Not my best performance this past year, but that's part of the game, right? The ups and the downs is what makes it all well worth it at the end of the day. But yeah, pumped to be here with you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
All right, so we try not to be too formal, but I know Pat and I did spend a little time thinking about some good questions for you, so I'll let you.
Do you guys mind if I take this hoodie off?
No,
yeah, we'll just swap out your mic.
Well hydrated too.
Yeah, it's warm in here. Perfect.
Yeah, well, I can just mix this on real quick.
Yeah.
I trained in so many freezing cold gyms. That's
Dude,
I hate turning it down, but yeah, I like it cranked.
I'm an easy sweater too, especially when I'm like eating well and drinking tons of water, dude.
Yeah.
Anything I do, just drenching,
right
dude. Yeah, anything.
We have a guy coming from our academy. We call him the Rainforest.
Yeah.
Like if he's on top of you, it's just like pouring.
Dude, that's me right now. You guys train with me today? I'm
good. I won't feel. But JT said he's a rainforest. That's cool.
All right, back to me.
Back to you.
All right, so I just visited your academy,
Yeah.
Essential Jiu Jitsu, a few weeks ago. It's been on my list of things I've wanted to do for a long
Thank
time,
you.
but you know, as an academy owner yourself, it's hard to
Yeah.
get away and go train for
100%.
yourself sometimes. But we made it down there, and something I've always heard everyone across the board say is how amazing the culture is at your academy. And the second I walked through the doors, it was apparent, like, you know, people aren't blowing smoke. It really is that way. So something I've always been wondering is what thought and work are you putting into to make it that way? Or is it just that's how you are and it's just that trickle down effect through everyone else that comes through?
So that's a great question. You know, when I set out to open my gym, I wanted to create a space where everyone felt welcomed. But if you did come in, you're also going to get a good workout, a hard workout, but also make good friendships and relationships with other people, right? And connect with other people on a great level. And that's exactly what I try to do from the beginning, is set that culture from the start. You know, I've been training a long time. I've been traveling the world a long time, teaching, training, stuff like that. And I've seen tons of academies, been a part of different training programs and regiments, and I've kind of seen what I've liked and what I didn't like, and kind of picked and chose what I wanted to put together at my gym. And that's exactly what I did from the start. I wanted a place where everyone could come in, have a great time, feel laid back, but when it's time to get after it, we get after it at the same time. And I think it's a perfect balance where, it's not too serious, but serious at the same time. I'm sure you understand what I mean,
100%,
And I think that's the perfect combination. I'm glad to hear that feedback. So, it just makes me happy to hear that, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, we walk into the door and it's a very lively environment. Your wife was there to greet us at the desk. Some other smiling faces. Everyone was super welcoming, helpful, and then, like you said, when it got time to train, there was no nonsense. Like on the dot, class was starting. Jumped right into it, and then what I also appreciate is everything ended at the expected time too. Especially as someone that traveled 2+ hours to get there. It's like, am I going to be getting home at midnight? What's going on here?
We're not sure, right?
Most academies run on jiu-jitsu time.
Is that by design? Like, did you consciously think like we're starting every class now on time and ending on time, or is it just kind of naturally evolved that way?
That's always been something I've wanted to do. I've always been like that. I hate being late. I like sticking to a regimen, I should say. I'm someone who's got his routine, and I stick to it. I think that's why I've been a successful competitor too. Right? I've been if I have something that I like and that works well for me, I'm going to stick to it, and that's exactly what I've done with the gym too. So I've always believed that a gym should run at a professional level, and I think starting on time, ending on time, and making people feel welcome is part of being a professional feeling type of facility, and so that's just part of that. And I think it just goes back to growing up as a kid too. My parents were always like, "Hey, make sure you do your chores, make sure you do this, make sure you do good in school." So shout out to my parents; they did a great job. But that's just something has always been instilled in me. Something that's just a part of me.
Yeah. It resonated with me because when you came back and told me that, I was thinking like, all right, when I start my class now, we're starting right at 6. Like when I start at 6, we're starting right at 6. Like, just so I think I like the idea that like this is a fundamentals class. I get it, guys. Just first day off the street or whatever, right? But like this is how we do it. Right. This is like we do this. We warm up. We do this. We do these drills. Like
Exactly.
I think it that helps set the
starting that from the beginning. I think sets it sets it right. We even say that about like even in the kids class. People come in and they're like, wow, the kids pay attention so well. It's like we never let it get away from us to begin with. I feel like a lot of gyms, they kind of slowly let things get away from them, and then it's so much harder to reel it back in. So right away we were just like, this is how we're going to do it. We line up before class. We pay attention, but like I said, we have a good time at the same time. But it starts from day one. I think like that,
setting the tone
for sure.
Agree with you big time. I think once you start letting one loose end go, it just unravels a whole big thing.
For sure.
Especially as the gym continues to grow. As the gym grows, there's more things to take care of and keep an eye on and stuff like that. So I think when you set those standards from the beginning, it just makes things easier down the road as you grow, right? Great point, man. And that's something I've always done from the beginning, and it helps keep that professional feel to the academy, and I think that's so important. I've been part of gyms where I'll get there before the instructor, and I'm like, is the instructor showing up today?
100%.
Or they'll come in and they're like, what are we working on today? Let's do arm bars. I'm like, all right, we're doing arm bars. So I like having, even with my the technique of the week or 2 weeks, there's always a set technique we're doing for that week or for that month, for that 2 week period. We start on time. We got our gear that we wear on the mats. Everything is just like I said, professional, and I think that goes a long way
for sure. I think that even goes into saying hi to people who walk into the gym. If they see you saying hi to everybody, being nice, being friendly to everybody, and still getting after it when it's time to get after it, you're gonna kind of instill that culture in everybody who comes in.
100%.
Everyone's gonna, you never get that click sort of nature if you're not the one starting that, So you're there setting the tone for sure. That's what everybody says about your gym. It's like you're always there, setting the tone for sure.
It starts from the front, right?
Yeah.
It starts from the front and it trickles down after that. And I think to run a successful gym, to run a successful team, you got to be a leader. You got to be a good leader, right? And being a good person is all tied into that too, right? Because there's people out there who are not that great of people, and they that trickles down into their environment, their following and stuff like that. So it goes a long way, and I think it just goes back to giving the students a good experience. You know, like when you guys came to the academy, to hear that feedback, that makes me truly happy, right? As a business owner, you want good feedback. You want positive feedback. Yeah. You know, it sucks when you hear, I didn't have a good experience, or this happened, or that happened. I never want that to happen. And look, and even so, it does happen sometimes, right? It's just a part of owning a business. But can't make everyone happy. But at the end of the day, we try our best.
Exactly.
We put our best service out there forward, and you know, most people will appreciate it, and it feels great at the end of the day.
Awesome. The other thing I appreciate, I walk through the door and you're out there teaching kids class.
Yeah.
I feel like most academy owners, that's the first thing they're trying to pawn off. On
100%.
So I'm always trying to pawn it off too. I get home, I'm like, all right, JT's out there teaching kids class. I gotta stick with my kids class.
100%. You know, it's I will say this though, I used to teach a lot more kids classes in the beginning when I first opened up the gym. So I've kind of given the liberty to other instructors, but I still like to be a part of it. Just because those kids are going to be one day the future of the academy. Those are going to be your young brown, black belts who are representing out there when they're competing. And not only just the competitor kids, even it starts from the white belt program, right? But right now I specifically still work with the advanced kids, right? The kids who like to compete. And like I said, that's going to be the future right there. We see the competitors nowadays, you know, all these young guys who are just mind-blowing jiu-jitsu, people who are winning, you know, titles left and right, and they all start at a young age. So that gets me excited too. When I see these young kids who've been with me the last 6-7 years already, and they're 12, 13, 14 now, I'm like, man, she or he's going to be amazing. They're already amazing, but it truly gets me excited as a coach to think about what they're going to be like when they're 18 years old.
For sure.
Right? It's super exciting to me. Because, you know, I love competing. I love coaching. And I would say this, as of recently, I feel I get more nervous and excitement and nerves kick in when I'm coaching my guys at tournaments versus myself competing, right?
I want to ask you about that.
Yeah. So I feel the dynamic within myself changing, you know. I still like to compete. I'm still competing. But of course, I'm getting older, and I'm looking forward towards the future. And when I see these kids are the future.
Yeah. Is it hard to balance coach, competitor at the highest level, business owner? Like, how do you, right? How do you do that, right? Some people can only do one of those things, right? You get all three.
It's true.
How do you prioritize that, right? How do you think about that?
I'm lucky because it's I don't want to say it's super easy, but it's worked out well for me where I think it's been a smooth process for me. And the reason why, I have a good team around me. You know, I'm very lucky to have my wife with me. She's someone who, we've been together over 10 years now, over a decade, married, going on 2 years now. But she's the one who runs basically the business side of things. And it's important to have someone you can trust, all right? And she's obviously someone I can trust. And then with her, on my side, we got other guys and girls around us who help us teach, help us clean up, help us coach on the weekends. So I have a solid team around me, and it allows me to stay balanced amongst business owner, competitor, and coach. Yeah. And without a team, it's hard to do. It's hard to do by yourself, is what I'm trying to say. Right? You need a good squad around you, and I'm blessed to have that. And I gotta also say, when I lived in San Diego for 5 years, right? And I trained at Atos out there for 5 years, and I studied under Professor Andre Galbao, and he's always been one of my all-time favorite competitors. But something that I really appreciated from him when I lived there was his coaching, right? And I got to see firsthand how he owned a business, how he was a family man, how he was a competitor. Because when I was there, he was still winning world titles in the gi and winning ADCCs. I was like, this is insane. Yeah. And the thing that impressed me the most was when we were training, right, we were doing hard camps, we do hard gi world camps, hard ADCC camps out there. He wasn't just coaching on the side, because obviously he was competing too, but he was right there with us on the mats doing the workouts, right? And it'd be tough practices, and he would be doing them right there with us, right along the side of us. So I'm like, man, like this is savage mode here. Yeah. So, fast forward 6-7 years now that I've been, running my own gym. I'm doing the same thing, right? I'm running these practices, and I always constantly say to my guys, I will never make you guys do anything I haven't done myself, right? But the other day, so obviously right now we're training for Gi Worlds, right? And the other day we're doing speed drills after a hard day of rounds and specific sparring. We were doing speed drills at the end just for conditioning. And one of my young guys, a purple belt, this guy's really good. He's got a really bright future. He goes, man, I really appreciate you being on the mats right now and just leading from the front. Yeah. It's inspiring. You know, you inspire people when you do that kind of stuff. Yeah. I true-heartedly believe that. And, you know, I saw Professor Gaval do that firsthand. And it fired me up seeing him do it. I was like, damn, man, like this guy, I respect that, you know? And because most people, you know, you'll see competitors open gyms and maybe took the foot off the gas when it comes time to competing and stuff like that. I remember when I opened up the gym, I got so many comments like, oh, man, like JT's competitive career is done. He's over. He'll never win a world title, this and that. And I remember I even got some slack from some people who were close to me. It's like, what are you doing? You're making a mistake. And I was like, no, I believe I can do it. I saw Professor Gaval do it. I know I can do it. And listen, I won 2 ADCC titles back to back, running a gym and teaching kids classes and teaching white belts and cleaning the bathrooms. You know, it's for sure. There's something to it too. I'll say this too. Something that people ask me about, and I always throw this in. When I opened the gym, I almost felt like it gave me an extra edge, like an extra firepower in my engine. Where when I went out there to compete, when I go out there to compete, it's more than just about myself. Yeah. And not like when I was at Atos, I knew I was representing the team and stuff like that. But there's something to it when you have your own academy, and you have people who look up to you and who look at you for guidance and stuff like that in their jiu-jitsu journey. And I'm like, man, that just gave me that extra motivation to push hard and push through the training sessions and just make it all happen. And like I said, I've had some of my best moments in my competitive career while running a gym, and people are still mind blown by it. I remember in 2019, I was walking around after I've won the final match at ADCC that year, and people were coming up to me, other competitors, and they're like, "Man, you did your whole camp at your own academy, or did you go to San Diego?" I'm like, "No, I did it at my gym." And they're just like, they're just trying to figure it out. Like, man, how's that possible? You know, but going back to what I said earlier, when you have a regimen too, when you have a routine that you follow, it all works. So when you have a routine, when you have a good team around you, when you have a good balance and people to help you just, you know, work towards that goal, great things usually happen. And I think I'm a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I think, you know, that can very easily, and I'm looking at all three of you guys as, you know, academy owners, like very easily become a weight, right? Like a crushing weight to represent, right?
Yeah,
or
totally.
It can be a fire in your engine that's you know, stoked you to, you know, greater and greater things. So,
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely does add to it for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
No, I'm sure.
I think that's a perfect segue into something else I wanted to chat with you about. And we hear these legendary stories about your pro training sessions.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of what's your philosophy and structuring on, you know, how you run those, how hard you guys push each other?
So the camps are tough. The camps are tough, but I also do recognize that you can't train balls to the wall all year round. Just impossible. And when I hear people say, "Yeah, I train 10 times a day," and blah blah, I'm like, okay, you know, okay, you know. So what I try to do is have a structured camp for the big tournaments, right? So we're training all year round, and we're always maintaining a level of fitness and a level, you know, or keeping our techniques sharp. But when it comes to ADCC, when it comes to Gi Worlds, I always try to plan out 8 to 10 weeks where we're just focused on training for that one specific tournament. And I'll easily say that you know, those two camps are the hardest camps, toughest camps. ADCC is super tough. What we try to do is mimic what we're going to encounter out there when we compete, right? So, for example, for ADCC camps, there's a lot of wrestling involved, a lot of specific sparring for attacking the back, maintaining the back, you know, holding position, because as we all know, it's hard to score in ADCC, and those matches can go 20, 30, 40 minutes depending which round you're in. But yeah, that's what we try to do. We map it out. Like I'll sit down and I'll write out exactly what we're doing for 8 to 10 weeks, right? And then we'll come in and I have this whiteboard and I'll write the workout on the whiteboard. So no matter what, because there's going to be days where you're a little sore, you're a little beat up, you're a little tired, and when that starts settling in, it's easy to tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to take it a little bit lighter today. Let's just do 3 rounds instead of the 6 rounds we're supposed to do. In my case, I have a routine, right? And when that routine's written out for the 8-10 weeks, no matter what, we're following it. No matter what. I like that. This is what we're doing, and we're sticking to it. And it's something that that's been proven. You know, this is not something that I just make up on the spot. Like, oh, we'll do 20 rounds today, and then these are things that have gained from other past camps. You know, I did how many ADCC camps with Professor Gab? I think I did 2. Beijing, China, and then Brazil. I had to pull out from the Brazil one. I did like 6-7 weeks of that camp, and then I had to pull out the last week. I had knee surgery. But I did 2 camps there, and then 2 camps of my own at my academy. So just from that experience, I've learned, okay, plug and play, what works, what doesn't work. And then also I have this great wrestling coach and strength conditioning coach at my academy, John Marsh, and he helps me program these training camps. And that's exactly what we do. We stick to the regimen. We stick to the game plan. Like we have this book. I have it in a binder. I'm like, we're gonna complete this book. And when we complete it at the end of this program, I always tell everyone, all the guys who are a part of the camp, you're gonna be a different human at the end of 8-10 weeks, right? If you follow this routine, if you follow what's in this book here, you guys are gonna crush it. Yeah. And we had a great performance as a team from the last ADCC. We had a lot of, I think we had like 5 or 6 ADCC competitors on the mats. It was myself, we had Fionn, we had Sam McNally, we had Gabriel Souza, we had John Thor Blank. He ended up getting hurt right before, but I mean, he was on fire. Gabriel took silver. Sam McNally had a breakout performance. Fionn won. I didn't do so hot, but I have my thoughts on why, and we can talk about that too, because I think that's important. But the team overall did amazing. So it goes to show that, listen, if we do this, great things will happen.
Yeah. And proof is in the pudding, right?
Yeah, 100%. So when you have a plan of attack going into training camps, it's only going to be better. And sometimes I'll ask people, "What are you doing for your training camp?" "Well, I'm just training hard." Yeah. Okay, but what's the plan? Like, what's the goal for this day? What's the goal for this week? Or when you're in week 6, how are you guys training? Are you tapering down? Are you going up? "Well, I'm just training hard." I think you got to have a plan when you want to have the best chance of performing at the highest stage.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about how that bar, it's not moving for anyone.
No. Yeah, I hold everyone to that standard. If you want and I tell this to people all the time who come to me, who tell me, I want to be world champion or I want to be part of this camp. If we do this, we're going to be a different human at the end of the camp. You're going to give yourself the best possible chance of doing really well out there. I'm not going to guarantee you win, right? Because nothing's guaranteed, right? I can't guarantee that. But if you follow this, we're going to do really well out there.
It's pretty powerful motivation. You're going to be a different human, right? Like, okay.
I say it, yeah. And it's true. And it's very true. Yeah. It's very true.
You want to talk about the ADCC?
Yeah, 100%. So this is something that I've always give advice, as far as advice goes, give to my competitors. When you go out there and compete, have fun with it, but go with the intent of breaking some spirits. I usually want to crush the competition, right? Break their spirits. And people, I don't want to break their leg, I want to break their arm, I want to crush their skull. That's all cool. But to me, the ultimate is when you go out there and you break someone's spirit. And what do I mean by that? When you go across and you step out there, you shake hands and you get going, and you feel that person across from you start kind of backing out, like, man, like, I don't want to, like, what is going on, right? But most importantly, you got to have fun with it and focus on yourself, focus on the present. Don't focus on the past or on the future. And I think I made that mistake, and it goes to show, as humans, no matter what level you're at, we all make mistakes, and not taking anything away from my opponents. Obviously ADCC is the best of the best, but I got really caught up in the whole three-peat thing. Really caught up in it, right? You're going to tie Marcel Garcia's record and blah, 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 blah. And like, I started getting really caught up in that. And I, when I see myself compete, when I would go back and watch the footage, because look, I was in great shape and this and that, but when I go back, I'm like, man, I wasn't myself. It looked like I was stuck in mud out there. And I was like, you know what? I was fighting and competing not to lose.
That's interesting.
Not to lose, because I took the focus away from, hey, just go out there and have a great time.
Yeah.
When you go out there and have a great time, at least for myself, I've had some of my best performances when I let my jiu-jitsu loose.
Yeah.
You take your dog to a dog park, take them out, they just they're having a great time. They're running, they're catching the frisbee, the ball. That's usually me when I compete, right? And I held myself back from that. And I put that pressure on myself, like, man, I gotta win. And then afterwards, I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Why did I do that? Where in the past, this is like kind of what I tell myself right before I step on the mat. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but all I know, I'm going to fight hard as hell, and we're going to see what happens at the end of that, right? And that's when I've always done my best when I do that, right? I got caught up in the moment, and listen, it goes to show that the wins and the losses are part of the process, no matter what level you're at. And I'm excited to get back out there. Now we got Gi Worlds coming up, another big stage tournament, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited just to do my thing.
Yeah.
That's it. Just do my thing. But yeah, that's important for athletes out there too. Don't get too caught up in the moment. Don't get too focused on, I gotta win. Because listen, when you do that, you end up finding yourself fighting not to lose versus going out there and competing to win. Yeah. When you compete to win, that's you letting your game loose and your techniques go out there and just, flowing from technique to technique. And that's something I do so well, and I held myself back from that. And, I kick myself in the ass now. But, at any point of the game, no matter what level you're at, you can always learn and improve. And that's exactly what I've done. It was a good reminder. And it was also my first big tournament back from taking a break.
Yeah.
Took a break, right? I felt I had really good momentum going. I won ADCC 2017. Then in between that, I won my second Pan Am title with the gi. Then I won ADCC 2019. And, I'm someone who's chasing, both gi world titles, ADCC titles. It doesn't matter. I like both. I compete in both. But we took that long break, right? We had the whole COVID thing and this and that, and then, obviously I'm a business owner, and then my focus shifted during that time period. Like, damn, how am I gonna, survive this, right? Yeah. And I remember I was getting invited to I'm sure you guys remember too, Who's Number One started bringing back super fights towards the end of the pandemic and all that. And I remember getting invited to super fights. I'm like, listen, guys, I'm just literally training with my wife in a second bedroom. You guys want me to fight, so-and-so, and I see that they're training full on, or, because, it varied from state to state, right? New York it kicked my ass. Yeah, kicked my ass, man. It was crazy. I don't want to get too much into it, because let's leave that in the past. Yeah. But I kind of felt that took the sail out of my wins a little bit, right? Or the wins out of my sail. There we go. And so when I got back to competing, I was like, oh man, it's been 3 years. And that's when that I can't lose settled in, And now I've competed a few times since the last ADCC. I'm feeling good. Yep. I feel like I'm getting my groove back, and learning from experiences. Always getting better. Always improving.
Yeah. Jeff and I were there in attendance at ADCC.
Yeah.
PJ being a personal friend of mine. I was really pulling for you to make your way through and get that
appreciate it.
I saw you guys were going to meet up. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. Listen, every competitor in that bracket's tough and it's world class, right?
It's an insane bracket, first of all.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's wild, but... I've been kind of joking, he got his takedown when it counted. But listen, it was a great experience for me to learn from and improve from. But with that being said, nothing being taken away from my opponents, from PJ, from nobody. Everyone's great in that bracket, and those brackets are so great that anyone can win. Yeah. And that's the cool thing about it, right? That's what people come out. 14,000 people come out to watch that, right?
That's why it's getting so
it's
you don't want to watch one guy just.
It's not fun. It's like, yeah, this person is gonna win. It's cool to have multiple brackets like that. Like, man, we don't know.
Yeah,
we gotta go watch.
Right. That's the
right.
Part.
So,
yeah, right.
So it's great for
That's
the
how
fans.
People end up in the seats.
Yeah,
right?
it's great for the fans. Great for the sport, which comes back to being great for the athletes, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wins at the end of the day.
Sure. What was your take on the show side of ADCC? We asked Fiat something very similar, but I'm very curious. Going introductions. You're standing out there in that big line of people for God only knows. I felt like 2 hours, whatever it was. Right?
Yeah.
Like, does that get you fired up to see that level of production, or do you not care?
You know what? In the moment, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I'm so focused on what's gonna happen within a few hours of that.
Yeah.
When I take a step back and I watch from the outside in, I'm like, whoa, it's really cool. Yeah. Really cool what they did. Really awesome show that Mo put on. All the production and the fire show and fireworks and this and that. Amazing, man, amazing. But when you're in it, it's like you got tunnel vision. You're just like,
yeah.
It was funny when you guys just mentioned it when they put us around the mats here for 2 hours. Yeah. After a while, I was like, damn, man, I'm kind of getting tired standing here, Yeah. And then I'm like, I saw some of the other guys sitting. I'm like, screw it, I'm going to sit here. And I just sat, I was just stretching out.
Fion told us in the podcast how AJ sat down first.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to sit down too, man.
Abby was arguing with him, telling him to stand up.
And then everyone just started sitting down little by little,
You guys were out there for a long time.
We were, man. Yeah. But like I said, in the moment, I'm not even paying attention to it, man. I'm just so focused. But, when I sat down that second day to watch the rest of the tournament and stuff, I'm like, well, man, it's really, really cool what they did here.
It was very cool to see, right? And
yeah.
That stuff is for the fans, I think, right?
100%.
You guys are there to do your thing, and whether you were there in the gym or, it's great. Like you said, that cycle of the production, bringing the people in, which ultimately, should funnel back to you guys.
Yeah.
But it should be interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah.
I know Mo's got plans, right?
I know.
Yeah. So.
I can only imagine what the next one's going to be.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, something wild.
Yeah, totally.
I know we're
out for time.
About 15 minutes before the start of the seminar, so I don't want to take too much time. But should we do the questions?
Yeah.
We like to ask people questions, and sometimes they're hypothetical.
Okay.
So the first question we like to ask is when people, you're at a barbecue someplace, right?
Yeah.
And someone asks you oh, hey, you're JT. What do you do for a living? What do you tell people?
I teach martial arts.
Oh, okay.
Did they give you a karate chop?
Yeah, they're like,
You
do.
Kung Yeah.
And I would say something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did they say, oh, so can you kick my ass?
Sometimes they do. Yeah, they do. And I'm like, oh, well, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny how the higher we go in rank when we ask people that question, the answer becomes yeah, I do tell them I can kick their ass. Yep. That's fun. Yep. We've joked about when people ask that, you're just like, oh god.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'm so used to it now.
Yeah.
I was telling Jeff recently. I don't think we logged this to bring up on the pod, but we forgot to talk about it. I had to go to the bank to cash a money order for the business, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So the manager comes out to the ATM to help me.
Right.
He sees me pull out my business debit card. He's like, "Oh, what's your business?" And I said, "Oh, I have a martial arts academy." And he goes, "Whoa, I'm gonna take a step back."
Yeah, I always get the same reaction.
You should have given him a flinch.
That's so funny.
That's so funny. All right, so the second question we like to ask, and this is where we get into the hypothetical sometimes, is what is your go-to walkout song, and how do you choose it?
It's always the same one.
Yeah.
March Madness by Future.
Okay.
And it's a song that you don't really listen to the lyrics. It's more about the beat. And the beat, something about the beat, man, it's just wild. You guys remember the movie Zoolander?
Yeah.
Right? When they brainwash him to whenever he hears the music to assassinate the person in the runway. Right. It's the same thing for me. When I hear that beat come on, I'm just it gets me in the zone, man. So March Madness, yeah.
Nice, okay.
Are you big into curating the music you play during training?
I am. Yeah.
I enjoyed it while I was there.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed making playlists, and but I'm all about keeping an open mind and allowing new music come in. So sometimes I let Fionn take over the playlist. I'm like, this is different, but I'm getting into it,
Yeah, all Taylor Swift.
Yeah, exactly.
It is funny because there's a very special dynamic in gyms about how the music is, right? Like, we've joked before about one of the guys who comes in and always plays the exact same thing every time. Like, I can't listen to the same 3 songs anymore. So I slowly started. And by the way, so we have a playlist that we use from the podcast.
Cool.
So we've added everybody's kind of walkout songs.
Cool. That's awesome.
But we also we've built various playlists for we're having a competition at the gym. We made a playlist for the Friday Night League. All these things that we've gone to, because I'm I can't listen to the same 3 songs.
Yeah, switch it up a little bit.
And I can't listen to silence.
And silence.
I'm all of you guys breathing are stressing me out.
Yeah, I can't do that either, man. I gotta have some sort of music in the background.
Although maybe that's some kind of mental toughness training. Just listen to everyone breathe as you're training.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I have one other question for you.
Yeah.
What does JT do when he's not doing jiu-jitsu? What else are you into?
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
Watching jiu-jitsu.
That's it, it's just jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, just watching jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I did get really heavy into gaming. I did enjoy gaming for a bit. But now that I'm back to training a lot more and all that stuff, I find myself watching jiu-jitsu. I truly do enjoy watching jiu-jitsu. And when I say watching jiu-jitsu, I like watching instructionals and all that, but more specifically watching matches. I love watching 2 high-level athletes have a match and just study from it. I'm like, wow, because if they're pulling it off against another high-level person, I know I can put it to use too in my game. So that's what I'm usually doing.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Did you catch Lovato's finish the other night?
Sick.
Dude.
Nice.
Super sick. Super sick. Timeless jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah, exact. That's the first thing I thought.
Jiu-jitsu, man.
Old school stuff.
We were texting during the matches, and it's holy shit.
Yeah. He's someone who's inspiring me. He over the years, obviously, but now that you see that he's kind of the same dynamic. He just became a dad not too long ago, right? Yeah. He's got his gym. He's got his own athletes who are starting to compete. He had a couple of his black belts in the card too, right? And they did well. I think they won. And he's still out there doing his thing. So it's inspiring for me to see that, because people always ask me, when are you going to retire or slow down or this or that? I'm like, I don't know, man. I enjoy getting out there. So let's just keep it going.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
We'll cut this off so we can go get some training from the boss here.
Let's do it.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure. I appreciate you guys having me today. Had a great time with you guys. Now let's get on the mats.
All right. Thank you.